Hello and welcome to the Kanawha Valley Hustlers podcast. I am here with Derrick today. We are in the city in St. Albans because Derrick is running all over the place, and this was the only place I could grab it and get to him. Derrick, tell me real quick, why are you running all over the place? What's going on in your life right now?
Yeah, man. Out on the campaign trail right now, running for U.S. Congress in West Virginia's 1st Congressional District.
Running for Congress. Are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? What are you running as?
I'm an ultra MAGA Republican.
Oh, okay. All right, great. So let's get a little controversial here today. I don't typically talk politics, so I do want to talk to you about business development, how to hustle, how to get business, how to run financing, things like that. Are those topics that you can talk about?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, man. I think we've all been there at some point or another.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your background. What did you do? What brought you here?
Yeah, I've been in real estate since 2016, and I was a hustler at the time. I was a school teacher. My wife and I bought a rental house, and in the evenings I would spend my time fixing that up, or on the weekends or whatever. And we just worked extra time, saved our money, and got that up and created our first rental. And I've been hooked ever since.
So are you the kind of personality that, you kind of got a little taste of it and you thought, I think I like this?
Yeah. So what's funny is when I was in college, almost finishing up, I discovered a website called Bigger Pockets, and it's all about real estate investing. And so I was fascinated with it. I loved it. I wanted to do it. My wife was on the fence. Finally talked her into doing it. And now she loves it. And she tells me it's the best idea she ever had.
Oh, okay. Well, that's usually the way it goes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm glad she had such a great idea that brought you here today. So what made you want to get into politics of all things? It seems to me that politics is a bit of a nastier business than real estate. So what made you want to get into politics?
It definitely is a nastier business than regular business. I got 4 kids, ages 8. I got 2 girls, ages 8 and 6. 2 boys, ages 4 and 3, and I just want to, leave and preserve individual freedom and liberty for our children.
And you think that's important? You think that's at stake today?
I do, and I think most small business owners probably are feeling that pinch right now from just everything that's going on with inflation and all the issues going on. It's affecting the regulations and all those things. That's helping suppress small business owners in our state and our country.
And when you think about inflation, I think that's a little bit of a hard thing for people to understand as far as, when it comes to financing. When it comes to financing, when you have budgets and things, really small increases that you might think are imperceptible can actually add up pretty quickly, can't they?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, we were talking a bit off air. I think that most people don't treat their own family finances as a business, and they should be. And I think that if you look at it from that perspective, and people right now would be honest, they would realize that inflation is impacting your individual family right now because things are costing more money and wages haven't really went up, especially the older people who are on fixed incomes, and the cost of everything's going up, but their income stays the same, and they're really hurting right now.
So when you mentioned treating your family like a business as far as finance, how would that work? What's one small step that people could do to kind of reorient their life in that way?
Well, unfortunately, our school system doesn't do a good job of teaching people about money or debt and credit scores, those sorts of things. I think the easiest thing that people could do is just learn how credit actually works, credit score, and then learn how debt works, and really sit down. Honestly, the easiest thing any family could do is sit down at the kitchen table, you and your spouse, and actually have an old-fashioned conversation and put the pen to the paper, see how much money's coming in and how much money's going out, what you're spending it on, and don't sit on the couch and do it. Actually sit at the kitchen table and write this down. And I think you'd be shocked at how what the things that you're spending money on that you probably didn't realize.
Now, that's one of the things that I like to tell people when it comes to things like productivity. If you take a little bit of time, like say at the beginning of the week, and you kind of look at what you have going on that week, and you start to put those little kind of pieces into place, suddenly they'll start to all kind of fall together. And then over time, you'll be able to snowball that into, successful enterprise, right?
Absolutely. Seriously, writing things down is huge. I mean, I learned that when I was in college. They had me trying to make me gain weight. I played college football and ran track. And I said, I'm eating that many calories. They said, start writing it down and what time you're eating. And I started looking, I was like, I'm not eating nearly as much as I thought that I was at that time. And so anytime you put the pen to the paper and actually set it down, you can get a 50,000 foot overview and look at it. It starts putting things in perspective for you.
That's great. And then one of the things I always like to caution people about is, your plan's not always going to come out exactly the way it looks on paper too, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be ebbs and flows. Things are always going to change. If it ever does come out exactly the way you plan it on paper, I would be a little nervous, actually. So you got to be flexible. You got to be willing to do that. But the thing is, you got to keep your focus on that major goal that you're working towards, and just keep that as the primary focus. And as things change, you can reevaluate, but keep focusing on that main goal.
So I want to hear a little bit more. We've got a lot of people that kind of listen and pay attention to what I do around the Valley. And a lot of them are, they have a side hustle and they're looking, always looking into the process of how do I take this side hustle full-time hustle? It sounds like you did that. You were a school teacher and then you became full-time into real estate. What's that process like of going from that side hustle to taking that big leap into starting your own business?
Well, no matter what the side hustle is or where you're at right now in terms of your business, I would recommend going to the Secretary of State's office, going in and filing your LLC, and then getting your, I can't even think of the name of it now, where you get your business credit score. I can't believe I'm blanking on that right now, but start establishing credit.
DUNS number.
Yeah, your DUNS number. Start establishing credit for your business and actually put it on paper, and then start getting those things on your taxes and everything. And I think that is the first step people need to take. And because that, from a mental standpoint, that's when it becomes real for you. You are now officially a business owner, and it's no longer a side hustle. It's a business. It's an investment, and you can start actually moving things and start holding yourself accountable. So I think I would encourage everyone to do that. It's very easy to do. It's quick. If you don't do it online, if you've never done it before, go up to Charleston, to the Capitol, to the one-stop business shop. Within an hour or two, they'll walk you through everything, and you'll have everything that you needed right there on the spot.
That's some great, really tangible advice. And along those same lines, it's also, a lot of people aren't familiar with this, but you should get to know a banker, right? Because most people, when they think of a banker, they think of going in and talking to a teller. But when you're running a business, it's a little bit different, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely want to do that. I love the local community banks I try to keep everything as local as possible. In real estate, I can't always use local community banks, so I have national lenders and stuff that I use as well. But definitely, you want to find a banker, become friends with them. Don't just use them as something. Go lean on them. Ask them questions. They can really tell you, because business credit and lines of credit for business are sometimes treated differently. It depends on what business you're in. But like for me, DSCR, it's different than a regular loan, and so you need to know how those things work. If you don't know the rules of the game that you're playing, then you can't play the game. And unfortunately, in life, whether you're in business or not, most of the people out there, we're going around and we don't understand the rules of the game. We're just out here trying to play, and we don't know. So you got to learn the rules of the game, so then you can start strategizing and figuring out what you want to do.
Absolutely. That's great, Derrick. And I want to just ask you here, I know you stopped by here real quick. I know you got a lot of other things going on. So tell me, what's your schedule like now that you're running for office? What kind of activities are you doing? How are you finding time to fit everything in? What's going on with your schedule?
Man, I'm always busy. If I wasn't busy, I'd be nervous at this point. So to put it in perspective, I was just in Delaware on Saturday speaking at a GOP event up there. Then today, I had an event at 10 o'clock this morning in Milton. Then I just came from Winfield. Now I'm here in St. Albans, and I got another thing in St. Albans later today. And then tomorrow I'll be in Greenbrier County all day. And then the next day I'll be in Pendleton County and Pocahontas County. I'm spending the night down there. I'll be in Pendleton County, Pocahontas County. Then I come home and I go back into dad mode for a little bit because I got 4 kids. So
that's great. And I really appreciate that. And you got to take that time for family, right?
Oh, listen, that's what it's all about. And that's important too. Listen, there's some of you guys out there who are probably watching this who you already have your side hustle going, and you're in that mode where you are obsessed with it, if you will. And that's a good thing. It is, but it's important to take a break every now and then, step back and remember why you're doing this, refresh the batteries, recharge them. So that way you can it's a marathon, not a sprint. Always remember that. So that way you can stay focused.
And Derrick, as we wrap up here, I really appreciate you being on here with me. I want to ask you, as you're going around, you're traveling to a lot of places, you're talking to a lot of people. If you could kind of sum it up, what's the national pulse? What are you hearing from people? What are they talking about? You were just in Delaware. What are they talking about in Delaware versus the Kanawha Valley versus everywhere else that you're going, Greenbrier County? What's the pulse? What's the word on the street? The 2 biggest issues in the country right now, regardless of where I travel all over the country. It's the border and inflation. Those are the 2 biggest issues. It transcends every community, every culture, everything, anyone I speak to. It's the border and inflation. I think it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. I think that the 2 biggest issues for people right now is the border and inflation. You wouldn't know that from watching the news.
That is very true. That's exactly right. But we all know you got to get your news from real people instead of the fake news media.
Derrick, thank you so much. I could get in trouble for that statement. I'm going to let it go. Thank you so much for being on here with me today. I really appreciate it. And remember, this is Joe Justice, the Kanawha Valley Hustler. Don't send me any hate mail. Leave me alone about that kind of stuff. I'm always reminding you to hustle hard, hustle smart, and hustle with a smile.